It's time to talk about week 27. It's the pay covering June 25th to July 1st. Let's talk about it coming up.
I'm at a rest area at the Arkansas line. I'm going to talk about parking. I'm going to talk about that in Tom's final thoughts. But rest areas offer things like picnic tables, barbecue grills, water fountains, bathrooms, and of course 45-degree pull-through parking. This one's kind of nice. It has covered picnic areas, and sometimes they usually have a mix of both. This one just has covered. They also have trash cans, which makes it easy for us to get rid of our trash. Little water spigots in case you want to wash your hands or wash some dishes. And of course they have the area for you to walk your pet. And you can watch traffic go by on the interstate. Talk about that in my final thoughts.
Let's talk about my logs for the week. I was paid for 3,286 dispatched miles. I had 3,011 logged miles and 3,016 odometer miles. Logged miles do not always agree with dispatched miles due to carryover, which are runs that start in one pay week and end in the next. My average net speed for this week was 54 miles per hour. While this seems low, it is the miles driven divided by the number of hours on the driveline. Utilization percentage, which is determined based upon 61.25 hours in a 7-day week. My utilization this week was 99%. My total on-duty time this week was 60.3 hours, and of that, 93% was on driveline. The 1 day in green was when I took a day off at home. It's time to look at my unedited pay statement for period 27 of 2023. This statement encompasses all the trips that I completed between June 25th and July 1st. The first trip of this week went from Fort Recovery, Ohio to Laredo, Texas. It had stops in LaPorte, Webster, Edinburgh, and Farr. It paid $1,279 for 1,678. The second trip of this week went from Laredo, Texas to Kinston, North Carolina. It paid $1,149 for 1,606 miles. The third trip of this week went from Kinston to Kinston. It paid $3 for 1 mile. Wait, what the heck? This trip literally went next door from the receiver to the drop lot. It will continue in next week. This pay period, I received $300 for the insurance cash out. I received this monthly because I do not use the company's insurance plan. Moving on to the summary box this week, I got paid detention pay of $87. This is rare because we are rarely detained. I would say, and I was paid $9 for empty miles. Handling and securement paid $17, $300 for the insurance cash out discussed earlier. I was paid $100 for layover pay. That is a 34-hour reset. Loaded miles paid $2,083, and stops paid $124. $2,732 for a total of 3,276 miles. That calculates out to 83.1 cents per mile. Looking at the year to date, this is the 27th week of the year. My gross income to date is $57,723. I have driven 74,750 miles. This gives an average gross income of $2,137 per week. The average miles driven per week is 2,768. Multiplying that by 52 gives an annual estimation of $111,170 for 143,964 miles. Okay, the calendar. This week I was working on the road for 6 days. I was on home time for 1 day. So far in the month of June, I have worked 24 days, been at home for 4 days, and taken 2 days off on the road. In July, I have worked 1 day so far. Looking at the year to date, I have worked 135 days. I have been home 32 days, and I have taken 15 days off on the road. The overtime calculation. Let's keep in mind this is just a hypothetical situation, as most truck drivers are actually not paid by the hour and don't get overtime pay. So consider this a fun little what-if game for this past week. My gross pay was $2,732, and I clocked in 60.3 hours of work. At a typical hourly job, That would be divided into 40 regular hours and 20.3 hours of overtime. If we use that breakdown, it turns out my effective pay rate would be about $38.75 per hour. But let's say there was no overtime and it was all straight pay. In that case, my hourly rate would be $45.31 per hour. Taking a broader view and looking at the year to date, I've earned a total of $57,723 and worked 1,474 hours. Out of those hours, 1,072 would be considered regular time, and the remaining 402 would count as overtime if we were calculating it on a weekly basis. In this scenario, my effective pay rate, including overtime, would come out to about $34.46 per hour. However, if we were to calculate it all as straight time, it would be approximately $53.85 per hour.
The number one problem you hear truck drivers talk about is a lack of legal parking so they can get their 10-hour rest break. But as you look around, this is broad daylight. There's 16 parking places in this rest area at the Arkansas line, and there are only 3 trucks in this parking lot. Why are there so few trucks in this parking lot? Because it's 3:45 in the afternoon. 3:45 in the afternoon, people are all driving. At night, everybody wants to park at the same time. Nobody wants to offset their schedules, and then they want to complain that they can't find parking. Come tonight, this place will be full, and there'll be vehicles parked along the back, blocking the trucks from behind, making things difficult to travel through here. There might even be a few trucks on the car side where they're not supposed to be. The ramp coming off will probably have vehicles on it. But right now, you can pick your spot. And that's because people don't want to plan. They all just want to run, and shut down. And they want to look for a parking place when they're running out of clock time, rather than plan ahead and figure out where they should spend the night or spend their break, regardless whether they take it a day or night. And as a result, they struggle to find parking. Have there been a few occasions where I couldn't find parking over the last 3 years? Yes, it's happened a couple of times. But for the majority of the nights, as a matter of fact, almost every night, I have not had difficulty finding a parking place. That might include me having to reserve a parking place if I know I'm shutting down at the same time everyone else is going to be shutting down. Planning your parking is one of the things that'll make your life a lot easier, and it'll make it a little easier to enjoy every day at work.